The death has been announced of the organist and BBC radio presenter Nigel Ogden. He was 71. He fell in love with the organ back in the 60s when his parents took him to Blackpool with its magnificent Wurlitzer in the Tower Ballroom and the legendary Rex Dixon playing it. Reg Dixon, I should say. Nigel set up a business selling organs, but it was as an on-air enthusiast that he became most famous. He presented the Organist Entertains on BBC Radio 2 from 1981 until 2018, and more recently presented an organ podcast. I was speaking to another veteran of the organ, Phil Kelsall, who next year will have been playing at the Blackpool Tower for 50 years. He knew Nigel Ogden well and stood in for him from time to time on the Organist Entertains.
Hello again, Nigel Ogden here with this week's edition of The Organist Entertains.
Nigel was a unique type of character. He was certainly very friendly, and he certainly lived, for the organ music. It was in his blood, I would think. And, there are a few genres of organ music: classical music, theatre organ style, and then the electronics, the Hammond organ, jazz. But Nigel was totally at home in every genre, classical or jazz. He was brilliant at everything.
I'm starting with a recording I made in 1983 on one of the most effective theatre organs for its size I've ever played, the 3-manual 8-rank Christie of the Astra Theatre in Llandudno. Sadly, the theatre is no more, but the organ is in storage awaiting a new home. It really was a powerful 8-ranker in that building, as you'll hopefully hear now in this version of I'm Beginning to See the Light, and Not Before Time, I Hear You Cry.
He was very eccentric, really, and I remember his hobby was Morris Minors, the motor car Morris Minor, of which he had 2, and they were absolutely immaculate, like they've just come out of the showroom. And I used to pop round to his house, and he used to take me for drives in them. We used to go for a coffee in his Morris, and then eventually he encouraged me to buy one myself. So.
Did you ever play with him?
Oh, many times, yeah. We appeared on stage quite a few times. The last time I worked with Nigel was in the Tower Ballroom, actually, and it was the occasion of my 40th anniversary year at the Tower, so we had a special concert, and Nigel offered to compare it for us. He didn't play, but he compared it. He was very good because he worked on the Organist Entertains, on BBC Radio 2 for 39 years, I believe. So he was very good at comparing as well, and he compared my 40th anniversary show in Blackpool.
Now, Paul Lee is a great Hammond organ fan, and in fact has a few different instruments in his collection. Well, here he is on Hammond RT3 with that Sammy Cahn Jules Stein classic from 1947, Time After Time.
The organ really is not a mass popular instrument, really. It's quite it's quite unique in its attraction, really. And Nigel, he just kept it going. He was on every week. So many young people I speak to, and young players nowadays, I first heard the organ on Nigel Ogden on his programme, and then some, they first heard it when they came to Blackpool Tower because it's played every day there, the theatre organ. But Nigel, his programme was massive, and it was not just organ fanatics listening to it, but general public as well. So it brought the organ to the general public.
I wonder if you, having just lost him this week, have any particular memories?
He was very interested in all things going on, especially at Blackpool Tower, because that's apparently, he told me, that's where he was first inspired to play, because he visited the Tower as a boy, as I did, and he heard the organist playing then. It was Reginald Dixon.
Oh, a legendary name in music.
He played it there from 1930 until 1970, so he was there 40 years. And Nigel would have probably went on a day trip with his mum and dad, whatever, as people do, and then popped in the ballroom and heard the organ. And then from that moment on, he always remembered that trip, and he always had a fascination for Blackpool. So every time we used to meet, he used to ask all these questions of me. What's happening at the Tower? Is the organ okay? Things they've done to the organ. He was absolutely fascinated, and a really interesting chap to talk to as well. He was very knowledgeable, certainly about anything to do with music.
Let's round things off with the full version of what has been the programme's theme tune since I took over in 1980, Cole Porter's From This Moment On, recorded on the Tower Ballroom, Blackpool, Wurlitzer. With thanks to producer Bob McDowell, this is Nigel Ogden saying thank you for listening and bye-bye.
He'll be missed when you celebrate your 50 years in the Blackpool Tower Ballroom next year.
Absolutely, yes, because he would have been, he compared my 40th, as I said, so it would have been the obviously natural choice to ask him back to compare the 50th, but of course, sadly, that won't happen now.
Phil Kelsall, the organist at Blackpool Tower Ballroom, paying tribute to Nigel Ogden, host for many years of the Organist Entertains on Radio 2, whose death's been announced at 71.